becomes a lot easier to make those plays happen when Lilia roams in for those ganks. So I don't hate the composition actually here for Nongshim, although it does feel like it's a comp that is less stable than what Hanwha Life Esports got. They've got the picks that they like. And then, you know, Skarner is a bit of a question mark here, but otherwise, you know, I like Chovy's Azir. I like Deft on Aphelios. Of course, they have Aphelios Thresh. Dudu's Renekton is one of his more popular picks, so feels like Hanwha Life Esports got everything they wanted here.
Yeah, and I do want to enlighten you on another stat. This is actually the first time Deft has played Aphelios this season, and that means that he's up to 10 unique champions alongside Chovy.
There you go.
So this is definitely good, as Vista is once again playing the Thresh. He's only played it a couple of times outside of this, but I remember him having some heroic showings on the champion as well. Certainly some interesting drafts. I think,
when I first came to Korea, the taxi meters would have a turtle that transformed into like a hare and then a horse. I'll hold that thought.
Chovy? I don't know whether he was looking at where he was, as he is just going to die. Not going to use the flash, and that was a whoopsie. Certainly going to be an option, but you do need to get level 6 for that. And in the meantime, the Sand Soldier is going to be very frustrating. Arthur's going to jump on in here, though. He's looking for Peanut. Is snagged by that Q just a little bit. And Smite is picked up for both of these players, so we'll see who's going to win that 50-50. As right now, Peanut just playing with Arthur a little bit, but does get the stun. Smite goes down as now Kellen crashes on in. Vista, decent playback, but Arthur is just going to go down. The early rotation over from Bay is pretty obvious as Death gets over the wall, but is still going to die. Vista's going to do the same thing. And what has happened to Hanwha Life Esports?
Yeah, this is
a disaster completely.
This is terrible. Can't win this anymore. Meanwhile,
what the heck? Now he's on the other side of the map trying to steal something away. He's dead. The red buff is going to be there. Dudu can't help it all, and I just don't know. Off screen, he might have just assumed that Rich was going for a bit of a cheater or something like that. But I mean, you can't take that risk after already, you know, throwing your life away in the enemy jungle on the other side. Like, I don't know. So it's a 3-buff start. He was able to get a scuttle, so at least there's that for the Skarner. He's also landed in the mid lane as well, as Bay is very, very competitive.
He's got 6 already, and he's like, oh, well, I've got Rel too, so guess what?
Yeah.
Making a play.
Def does have the Gravitum, so it does stun up Peanut for a little bit, but the Watch Out Eep is so scary, and he's just so fed. It's ludicrous. Throws a bowling ball, picks up the kill easily, isn't even needed for this dive on the bottom side as Bay. He's got the Haymaker, so he'll be totally okay as well. And Nongshim, they're snowballing very effectively, but we still have to go back to the fact that
Lilia is just going to be out-rotating, and Arthur doesn't have his ult yet, still.
And he's still counter-jungling. All right. Well, he does have the Crystalline Exoskeleton, gets to run away real fast, and Dudu is here this time. Flash away from a bowling ball. That's how scary Peanut is right now. Bambi is angry. Certainly helping out the Scorpion up here towards the top side. Vista making a roam over, as, getting over this river is something that Arthur is really struggling to do this game. And Kellen and Peanut also going to turn up here. They're going for a bit of a dive, but they're going to have to get it done pretty early. As I think the Crystalline Exoskeleton is in. 4 members up towards the top side. Bay moving on in. He's at half health, but he's set as well. Chovy moving on over. Already Peanut has been shut down. Oh, that's some greed. That's some greed right there. Flash and Pale is so easy. And this is the most dead Samira's ever been. She is... Oh my god, the damage! As Dudu's going to have to be called in. The teleport comes on up and he does find the stun. But man, that was so close to a turnaround. Sometimes you forget how ridiculously fed Samira can do. As Chovy's going to throw Bay towards the rest of his team. There's that showstopper that we were talking about, and there's the Watch Out Eep. You've definitely got to watch out for it this time around.
Yeah, you do.
He's going to get red buff slowed and hunted down here by Peanut. But thankfully, there is still a turret here. Def trying to turn it around. Calibrum is in. Rich comes in. And Bay's now looking for more. Great 2-man face breaker, and the AoE damage is massive.
Stars actually goes, well, okay.
This is dead. You can keep going.
Yeah, so he's actually had some pretty nice rotations over, and it feels like Set might be his champ. Like, you know, Bay is on the perfect place right now in this team fight to grab somebody.
Yeah, this is the scary thing, right? Like, the engage from Nongshim is also just so scary.
The Peanut?
Oh, Chovy's off to the side. He gets body slammed and taken away from the lantern, but is able to pick that one up. Now flashes over the wall. Kellen right in amongst it and gets so much value with all his CC. The Skarner and Thresh just die as an afterthought. The Emperor's Divide's good there from Chovy, but he's still getting closed in on, and this is looking like potentially the ace unless Dudu can just run away. Chovy also, you know, trying to be a bit of a hero here as far as an escape artist act is concerned.
He's done everything correctly in every single team fight.
Well, Arthur's going to go for the Hail Mary. Looks once again for Dom, who gets pulled underneath the turret. Gets taken down to half health, but then just flashes on out. Even takes a turret shot. It looks like he's going to be okay. Good flash there from Kellen. Gets him out of it, but there's a Crocodile lying in wait, and Cull the Meek is going to work out for him. Cask is a bit of a party there for Rich, who's now going to have to flash away. That's one pick, but it's in trade for one anyway. But you're probably not necessarily too excited about it. There's Nongshim now moving on over. The Phalanx has been set up here for Harmor Life Esports. They'll take down the turret, but what are they going to lose for it? Great barrel! Brings in the Skarner. He's just going to die. There's a bit of an afterthought. There is a Lantern right there. Depth is going to pick that one up. Dudu's pretty big as Dom gets the ulti, but isn't actually able to get too much work done. As Chovy now off to the side, shifts some sands trying to get away, but Peanut's real fast, flashing on forward. Bowling ball will miss, and another Lantern will be picked up. But now Depth has been closed in on it. The set is going to be taken down as Dom trying to take matters into his own hands. Rich closing in from the top, Kellen crashing down over the wall, and another bowling ball will connect. Good exhaust onto Peanut there as Depth trying to kite, but he's not going to be able to do it. The Samira locks him down. Vista's now under a turret, misses the hook, but he should be safe. But I don't know whether the Baron can say the same.
I mean, Renekton is actually pretty good into this comp, but not when you're this far behind. Not when the damage output is so insane. 7-1 and 4 Dom. Peanut's damage, you saw it just previously on the graph. You highlighted it.
But it was scary in the early 2v2, right? That's what was scary about the Renekton, and I feel like, you know, the early 2v2 didn't exist. As there's the Stride Breaker, Vay getting on in there, but he's going down pretty low. Dudu's still pretty strong. Depth trying to stay unhit towards the backside and lands a great Moonlight Vigil. Dudu's still alive and has a Lantern. The extra shield there as well makes him very strong as Peanut is going to be taken down, not before doing a fair bit of damage. But Harmor Life Esports just won a 5v5. And after that happened, right, the whole thing's turned on its head. And you don't necessarily talk about how team comps interact because you're not supposed to get to a position where Nongshim don't have just obscene amounts of money and run over the top.
Vision of Arthur right now. Well,
he is over to the side, does have flash, gets on in there, but he's unable to lock down the Drake, and that's Mountain Soul now on this very tanky Nongshim team. Already the Skarner is going to be taken down. That's the double kill for the Samira. The resets are coming in as Peanut finds Vista over to the side. Chovy's going to die as well. And I think, you know, Hanwha, they had that one fight that was pretty good. Now they've been aced. And now the Baron will fall, or they could just run it up mid.
You can't fault him for where he's at in the mid to late game because he's just so far behind he can't do anything.
I mean, the mistakes have already been made, right? Like, it doesn't really matter what he does from here on out. Exactly. Kellen's going to dive on in, and look at the health bars melts. This is just beautiful. From Nongshim Red Force, the Samira is doing those Fed Samira things, and it's pretty disgusting. Dudu makes it onto the fountain. I think try and preserve the KDA here, buddy. That's what I'd probably do, as he is going to get back there. But the Nexus turrets, they are melting at the hands of Nongshim, and they have come out. It's a bit of a tour de force here for Nongshim, but I think a lot of it is a little bit reliant on Harmor Life Esports not necessarily figuring themselves out in the early game.
His damage, he was actually almost the highest in the game. He was just behind Peanut, which is pretty impressive. I thought the way he executed the team fights was really good. His Dominus uses were great. He appealed very well for Aphelios as much as he could, right? There was just no way for his team to fight after he had great initiations, and all the appeal he was trying to put off wasn't useful because everyone was just getting hit by a bowling ball and sleeping, or just getting hit by a Peanut, literally queuing in their faces.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter, but yeah, this is a rough game for Hanwha Life Esports. And yeah, like you talk about the draft, you talked about how, yeah, they banned the Nidalee away. There were a lot of jungle bans.
Welcome back, everybody, and we are kicking off day number 2 with Nongshim versus Hanwha Life Esports. And today's analyst desk will be joined by Subin Yun, T3, and Gorilla. So this is the last game for both teams, and Nongshim Red Force is taking game number 1. So let's take a look at their draft in this 11.3 patch. And a lot of jungle cards were getting banned out, and we saw Skarner coming out. For example, Talia was the a card that got banned out in every game, but now Talia is led through the pick and ban and no one actually picks it. And Nongsin was really fast locking in that Lilia, and the answer back from Hana Life Esports was Skarner. We were expecting something like Kane that we saw yesterday. Speaking of Skarner, in 11.3 and also the live patch 11.4 patch, Skarner got multiple buffs, so we are expecting this champion to kind of show his appearance moving on to the further patches. So this champion does definitely got some strengths, but still this pick has a weakness. But we want to talk about the gameplay, which mattered more. I think Hana Life did a fantastic work with their draft. Skarner and Renekton was the front line that can actually protect Aphelios and Azir, because Nongshim actually comped a very short-ranged comp. So in their later game, Hana Life definitely had this range priority. And I think in the current meta, I think all of the LCK players, especially support players, are doing fantastic job on this champion Rel, but especially Kellen is one of the best players for Rel currently. So let's take a look how Nongshim was able to get the earliest first blood of the split. We can say Chovy actually just got caught off guard. It was pretty predictable that the opponents would have been there, but Chovy was just walking into a very dark side of the jungle, so he got picked up really fast. And even though the red team placed a ward around the Raptor camp, well, after that, blue team also placed a ward as well. So after that early kill, Arthur pretty much would have thought that the game was pretty over, because he knew that Lilia would be going for that full counter jungle camp clear. So even though he knew that there was a ward, and also even though he knew that Lilia was playing around the right-hand side of the map, he actually just went in for this red buff counter jungle. So because maybe bottom duo had priority, Arthur went in for this red buff fight, but the fight didn't really went that well, because Nongshim Red Force could also just join the fight in that low level. And Rel has a huge teamfight ability in the early stage of the game as well, so that was not the ideal decision making coming out from Hana Life Esports. You can say this was pretty much unlucky for Hana Life, but at the same time, there weren't much reason for Arthur to go for that counter jungle. Maybe he had to move it, Thresh and Aphelios a little bit more faster, or maybe he could just take a different jungle path, because the entire team were not having their guards up. Well, Arthur had to play some gamble, and he just got wrecked, to be honest. He was forced to take those choices, but that didn't really work out well for him. And in the end of the game, we could actually hear Peanut saying in the mic check, Skarner is a really nice brother, so we can kind of tell what happened in that game pretty much with that comment. And let's take a look at this skirmish that happened around the top side of the map. Actually, Hana Life players were camping on the brush in order to actually pick the Samira, but even though he got flashed and stunned, Dokdam stayed really calm and pulled off all the combo pretty well. On the other hand, Aphelios' weapon was not the best ones for skirmish as well, and as the fight got extended, because Samira chunked all the enemies and bought a long time, this fight turned into a team fight, and Nongshim Red Force was able to easily turn this fight around based on the lead they had in their pocket. And also, Peanut was landing all the bowling balls he could in this game as well. Well, if this fight was opened in a very even state of the game, maybe Hana Life could have won that fight, but still, we have to keep in mind that Nongshim was way ahead of Hana Life from the get-go of this game. So Nongshim Red Force today was able to start off the lead in the very beginning. So let's take a look who's going to pick up the POG, and it's going to be Bay on set. First POG of the split. Incredible KDA and nice stats on the scoreboard. And Rel and Set combo looks pretty powerful as a duo. I think with the Rel and Set together, I think Bay was able to land land a lot of AoE, CC, and also damage as well. I think Seth is a really nice connection or link for Bay because he used to be a very weak player on the side of Nongshim Red Force, but as he was able to find this AD champion coming on the mid lane, it allowed more space for Peanut to lock down some of the strong mage champions in the jungle role as well. Well, Peanut was indeed 5 levels ahead of his opponent jungler, but still Bay is the one picking up this POG because the playmaker that allowed Peanut to accelerate so far was the Bay playing that set in Game 1, and he was able to pick up 5 out of 9 votes. Hana Life has been looking very shaky, and they have to play up against Damwon, Tia, and DRX after this series, so let's find out if they can tidy up their performance in Game 2.